Oh, let me tell you something. Busting makes me feel good.
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Blockbusting, the podcast where we love to hate the movies. I am your host, Jay Light. Joining me today from sunny Denver, Colorado, John Tole.
How are you? 300 days a year of the sun.
I just heard that yesterday. You guys get 300 days of sun a year in Colorado.
It's ridiculous.
That's nice.
Yeah.
This is basically what LA weather's like right now.
This could be LA if you only had to spend 5 minutes a week in traffic.
That would be so nice. That would be lovely. I saw snow yesterday.
Nice.
I hadn't seen snow in I can't remember how long.
Wait,
it's been a couple
where did
years.
you grow up?
I mean, I grew up in Dallas.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But we didn't have, we had ice.
Right.
You know that.
Yeah,
you know how ice storms work in Texas. We had a couple white Christmases when I was in college and went back.
Right.
Which is magical enough. But no snow.
Not
and then LA
bit.
doesn't really get snow.
No, God. And when it does, it's all over.
Yeah.
It's over.
It's no good. We get ash. That's what we get.
You're
going to
get nuclear fallout in winter?
Ash flurries.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't wait to celebrate Christmas in that nuclear winter.
I can't wait for the movie Ash Flurries for that to come out so you can hate it. I feel like that could be something that's going to be, of all the bad ideas people are making nowadays, there's no reason that should not be made.
That's definitely going to get, they're going to make it and then they're going to find a way to shoehorn it in as a remake of something else.
Right, yeah.
Put it in some other universe of something.
Sure, it'll be Volcano 2.
Yeah.
Would that be that movie?
Armageddon rebooted.
Right.
The box office this weekend, this coming to us from Box Office Mojo. No surprise here, Black Panther's still number one at the box office.
People are going to see it.
It is just crossed $1 billion worldwide.
That is amazing.
It's
every morning I go out, like Chris Rock says, to check for my Black Panther money, and there's none out there in the mailbox for me.
Nothing. It's made $41 million this weekend. It's still
That's
going
phenomenal.
Up. It's still doing very well. $562 million in the U.S.
Did you see it?
Not yet. Still haven't gotten around to it. I haven't gotten around to it. I got to figure out a time to go do it.
Right.
It's one of those things. You have a movie pass or anything like that? You just told me you haven't seen a movie in theaters in a long time.
I pay money to see Star Wars and Star Wars related movies, and that's it.
Did you like the new Star Wars?
Yeah, I didn't hate it.
Okay,
but it's in the top 5.
I liked it. I think that there's. What do you think about the people who hate this new Star Wars?
They were going to hate just waking up in the morning. They were ultimately going to hate themselves. They were just going to be angry people who they think that George Lucas and everybody else in that lineage owes them something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty spot on.
Is that right, Ed?
Yeah. I remember watching the movie and just sitting there in theater, and because I'd seen it probably about 2 or 3 weeks after it had come out, and I'd seen everybody be like, "Oh, this is terrible.
Yeah,
this is like shit's all over Star Wars." And I watched, I'm like, "How can you guys must not be able to feel joy in your life if you can't enjoy this movie?"
We sat in one of those stadium things on the opening night, and this nerd showed up in front of us, and he had his laptop open. He was watching not Rogue One. What was the actual Star Wars movie before
Force Awakens?
Yeah, he's watching Force Awakens on his laptop and enjoying, like, he's in it, and he looks back at us and he's like, he's cooler than everybody, and then he goes, the other TV shows playing on the screen. He looks back and he's like, I haven't even seen the trailer for this new one. I've been staying away from it just so I can be completely surprised. And as his back's turned, the trailer fires off on the big screen in front. He turns around in horror and he grabbed his laptop and he ran out of the theater.
Wait, did they show the trailer for the Star Wars before they showed Star Wars?
The movie. Yeah.
What? Why?
It was one of the commercials in that half hour. We're gonna pretend like you're watching TV.
Oh,
we're just
yeah.
gonna sell you garbage.
Right.
Yeah.
We're gonna show you some behind the scenes and get you and show you some. We'll get you invested in a children's hospital.
Yeah, exactly.
They always have one of those in there, man.
Why do I have to pull on my heartstrings and now I want to eat more snacks?
That's
I feel
not fair.
Bad about my life.
Yeah, you know what? I just want to go back to the days where all they showed before the movies movies was a couple trailers and that the cartoon
Let's Go Down to
hot
the Lobby.
dogs and let's go down to the lobby.
Yeah. I do that. I will do that in public. The let's go down to the lobby dance and sing the song just because I think it's absurd.
It's so catchy.
It's catchy and it takes America back to when America was still America.
Did you ever see the Aqua Teen Hunger Force movie?
Yes.
That was probably one of my favorite parts of that whole movie was the very opening where they did who was Mastodon did their version. Yeah, their version of the lobby song. Oh, it was perfect.
That's awesome.
Anyway, so Black Panther's number one of the box office.
A lot of money. What are they going to do with it? Black Panther 2?
They already announced Black Panther 2 is coming out.
Really?
Yeah, they just announced that this week.
I heard this, and I don't want to talk out of school. Is it true in Black Panther 2, Apollo Creed comes back to train him to fight the next fight?
Yep, I think so. They're going to bring him. They're going to bring Rocky. Rocky Balboa is going to come back too.
To this futuristic land?
Yeah.
Right.
Going to use, what is it called? It's not unobtainium. That's from Avatar. It's something that you can't do.
There's some nerd sipping a cocktail right now who came up with unobtainium. He hasn't worked a single day since that thing came across his computer screen, and he's done nothing. And he goes, "Oh, why am I here doing nothing? Let me tell you about the morning I had 8 years ago."
Unobtainium, my friend. It gets me in there. Number 2 at the box office this weekend, our first new entry, A Wrinkle in Time. $33 million.
What's that about?
That is an adaptation of a children's book.
Oh, okay.
It's got Oprah in it.
No. Oh, it ends with their dad leaving.
There actually is a missing dad in that movie. There really is.
I'm a prophet.
It's a movie. Okay, so it's an adaptation of a children's book.
Okay,
and there's a missing dad.
Yeah,
because he got sucked away in like a wormhole or something. I never read the book. Sure. It wasn't required reading in my school.
Right.
We had to read Lord of the Flies instead of this.
How does Rick
space
Moranis
travel
look in this?
Not good.
Oh, he didn't.
No,
Honey, I Shrank the Time. Is he in the movie? Is this the same thing?
I wish. See, that's another universe we need more expanding of. The Honey, I Shrunk the Kids universe. We had Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Honey, I Blew Up the Kid.
Right.
Surprisingly good. Mm-hmm. And then Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves.
Yeah.
Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves. That should not have gone direct to video.
I love the fact that you have deeper knowledge, and I only know just to shit on Rick Moranis.
When you get compared to Rick Moranis enough looks-wise, you start to accept so much more about his what's it called? His cinema oeuvre? I don't know what that word means. I look like I should know what oeuvre means.
I don't hate that. It's something egg related, I believe.
Something, yeah.
I took French for a couple years.
He took, he makes movies that go like goose eggs.
Sure.
He doesn't even. He retired from movies. He retired from acting.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, in the middle of acting?
Yeah. He's done.
Don't
he just quit. That's what happened
before you can quit it.
That's what happened with they actually digitally had to recreate him in Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves because he quit right in the middle of it. He's like, oh, well, this is my peak. We're done.
And they just force ghosted him for the rest of the movie?
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Wrinkle in Time, it's getting not great reviews, but kids are loving it. It's
dumb.
It's a kid's movie, and it's very colorful and pretty. It's got and Oprah. Everybody loves Oprah in it.
Our future president? I would not disparage.
Future President Oprah. She's 20 feet tall at one point.
In real life?
In the movie.
Wow.
In real life movie. In what's it called? In time space.
Yeah.
Honey, We Shrunk the Time.
In the ultimate Oprah make-believe storyline, she has sex with Stedman.
Oh, now there you go. That's the movie we all need to see.
I would pay that.
Number 3, another new entry at the box office, a surprising one, Strangers Pray at Night, $10 million.
Wow.
Did you ever saw the original Strangers?
No.
It's okay. It's a horror movie.
Oh, it's just a horror movie.
Yeah, this is a horror movie.
You could do a game, horror movie or World War II love story, because that's the title of both.
A Wrinkle in Time would work well as a horror movie.
Also, yes, for that.
Strange Pray at Night, that is, what's it called? It's a sequel to a movie that came out 10 years ago that nobody asked for.
Really?
And yet here we are. Number 3 at the box office.
No shit.
A movie that came out the first weekend in March.
Yeah.
With prime horror movie time.
Is that the best time? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They were going to keep this thing in theaters for 6 months and make it to Halloween. I don't hate that idea. Freaks Come Out at Night, you said that was called?
Pray at Night.
Pray at Night.
Strangers Pray at Night. Strangers Pray at Night. Because that's how you know it's in the same universe. You got to have that colon in there.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, this is a movie about people in masks that go and murder a bunch of people at a trailer park.
The Purge.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They're making another Purge. Did you see that?
I wrote The Purge.
Hey.
A lot of people don't know that.
That explains so much about this wonderful house that you have here in Denver and your sweet, sweet dog. You're like that's like your unobtainium. You wrote The Purge.
I wrote the Purge and submitted it as it was called 4th of July weekend. And it was about a husband and a wife that there was too much crime and they had to shut down no police, no fire, no rescue services over a 4-day weekend.
This is part of the Groundhog Day cinematic universe, just other holiday movies.
It was just 4-day weekend. It was going to go over the 4th of July. Okay, and then so that was it. You had to survive the weekend, and at the end, the wife kills the husband.
Man,
yeah,
they really shit on your vision, didn't they?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen any of them. I haven't watched.
I tell you what,
I don't even have cable. I have Netflix and rabbit ears. That's all I have.
I got some rabbit ears too, though. Yeah, rabbit ears are great. Right. They're very underrated.
I don't hate it.
You got all the HD channels. It's not good, but if I watch more Univision, I'd probably be better.
That's right.
Netflix, you can put the subtitles on. We're good to go.
Oh, is that real?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You have subtitles for Netflix? Do you not subscribe to the subtitles package?
Oh, I didn't realize that extra thing. No, I'm still getting the DVDs mailed to the house.
Oh, man, I wish that I don't have that.
Right.
I miss when Netflix was guaranteed as part of the service.
Yeah, totally.
I used to do that in college all the time. I would get a DVD like every week, and I'd watch it when I was hungover on like Saturday morning.
Sure.
Made some big mistakes watching some movies.
Yeah, $35 copy of PCU.
I saw Grizzly Man when I was hungover one day.
The guy who got eaten
by bears. It's not a great hangover movie. No. I mean, it's a great movie, but it's also one of those movies like you don't want to feel trapped on the couch while you're watching it.
Right. Well, how would you like to be that bear on Monday? And he's just like burp tourists.
Oop. got a little bit of a Patagonia jacket coming out of my mouth. Ugh, down. Ugh. Gotta get this taste out of my mouth.
That's so because my fiance said that when I come, it looks like I'm throwing up feathers.
You're a pillow. Oh, God. I can't even. I mean, I'm trying to picture that, and I don't want to try and picture that, but now I have to.
Sure,
You've put that image in my brain, John. What have you done? Number 4 of the box. Speaking of feathers, number 4 of the box office, Red Sparrow.
What's that about?
Jennifer Lawrence is a spy.
Oh,
and she's like a Russian ballerina or something.
I'm tired of all of these movies that they made and paid for and wrote when Hillary was going to win, and now they're all coming out after she lost. Like this is a perfect movie for this to be like her in charge, and the Russians are bad. We've proven it.
Yep.
But here's the chick from the Hunger Games.
Yep. Now we got, and that's the thing. It's one of those movies. It's not getting great reviews either. Right. It's a $69 million budget. It is probably not going to make that back. It is dropping fast at the box office.
$67 million of that budget was her altered drunk ego. Did you hear about that?
I just heard about that.
I didn't know.
I didn't realize
saw the headline. I didn't click it.
That is probably one of the most basic white girl things
to have a
drunk alter ego named Gail. Come on.
Yeah, right.
How dare you?
Sure.
You're trying to look. I know Jennifer Lawrence is supposed to. Yeah, right. Jennifer Lawrence is trying so hard to be a woman of the people at this point.
Oh yeah.
It's like we can see right through you.
How many actors are looking at our political landscape and going, I think I can pull this off?
Tons.
And can really do it. For The Rock. I'd vote for The Rock.
The Rock is probably the most likely.
Yeah, right.
I think he's got the charisma.
Yeah.
I'm a big avowed Rock fan, especially in this podcast. I think he could do it. I've seen the pitch of Rock and versus John Cena. Nice. In a presidential election face-off.
That would be huge.
They're both of age.
Yeah.
They're both charismatic wrestlers, muscle men. I'd love to see a muscle man.
I just want to see, and I just want to see promos cut on the political stage. That's
right.
What I want to see, have him ask a half a question. It doesn't matter what your opinion is. Mm-hmm. And then he smashes him with the Bible that he's being sworn in on.
See? That'd be perfect. I hope we can get to that in our lifetime, and I think we might.
This is gonna devolve because they have to. This is what I figured out. This is my whole thing here that I figured out from my lair here, whatever side of Denver we live on. I think that they already have the technology ready to govern us using computers. They just have to run out a series of boobs until the people go, wait a minute, we can't do this better. I have an app that runs every single light bulb in my house.
Yeah, true.
This guy's been lying to us. Come on. So maybe it'll be like Trump, and then he'll try to be it the third time. And then it'll probably be like 2 more people, and then we're done.
Yeah. Well, especially they've got the way they're going to do that is they're going to find ways to get everybody on board with that idea through movies and TV before it happens.
Totally.
Because we already had enough movies about the robot uprising and Skynet and whoever the hell else coming and taking over. So we already know that computers are way smarter than us and they will kill us eventually.
Right.
Who's to say we can't have one that seems kind of benevolent in a movie? And they're like, oh, yeah.
The Whopper at the end of War Games, he was benevolent because he realized that war and playing tic-tac-toe was a waste of time.
I never saw War Games.
Oh, you should see that.
See? Okay.
That's a good lesson. Go back to the 80s.
I'll go back. I get in there.
Yeah.
It was one of those movies I missed out on. I have some very large cultural blind spots from like the 80s and the 90s.
I have all cultural blind spots because I don't watch anything and I don't see commercials for all of this. When you're like, well, Red Sparrow, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, look, it doesn't seem like I'm missing out on much with Red Sparrow.
No.
We're talking about it on the podcast next week. It went down so much, and it was added to 8 more theaters this week.
Oh.
A whole 8 more people wanted to see this.
Wow.
It's not doing great. Number 5, Game Night.
Okay.
And do you want to guess what this movie's about?
I am going from the makers of Hot Tub Time Machine.
You're not that far off.
A wife and her friends decide to have a girls' night out and say it's okay for the husband to throw a guys-only party as long as they keep it together.
Okay.
What's the movie about?
The movie is about a competitive couple that has a game night with their friends, but it turns into murder and intrigue very quickly.
Oh, okay.
And it's apparently pretty funny.
All right.
It's gotten pretty decent reviews. $7.9 million in the box office this weekend.
Sure.
And it has already made its budget back because it's cheap. It's a comedy. It's cheap to make, even if it is a little high concept like this.
Yeah.
There's mobsters and guns and the poster has sorry pieces that have been shot or stabbed or something. Sorry, now that's a good classic American game.
Go to that house, and I want that 20-sided die. And if I don't get it, you know what happens.
Number 6, Peter Rabbit.
Yeah? Just in time for Easter.
Right, yeah. Came out.
What's that about?
Peter, it's the classic children's story of Peter Rabbit.
Oh, okay.
And he has to, this one, we covered this a long time ago, but the allergy lobby got upset at this.
Why?
People with allergies, because there's a scene. Peter Rabbit, he's a little rascal.
Sure.
He's a little mischievous rabbit, and he shoots a blackberry into his enemy's mouth, and he's allergic to blackberries. And so he goes into anaphylactic shock. He has to stab himself with an EpiPen. And people with allergies said that is an unfair portrayal, and you can't do that because it's going to encourage kids to use allergy as a weapon.
Right. I guess they'd be more offended that a cartoon persona had health care and they don't.
I think that's probably it. EpiPens are expensive.
Are they?
I guess.
Isn't that what that Shriek Kelly went to jail over because he jammed up the EpiPen price by 700%?
He jammed up EpiPens. He did the AIDS drugs too.
Right.
And now we got to figure out they got to figure out a way to release the Wu-Tang album they bought.
Yeah. Yes. What would you rather have, the unlistened to Wu record, or do you want the Cure for AIDS for free?
And that's the dilemma of our times right there.
Right.
Cheap AIDS drugs or a brand new Wu-Tang Clan album.
Yeah.
That's tough. That's a tough choice because I'm not planning on getting AIDS anytime soon.
No, that's not how it works.
You got drugs that you can mitigate AIDS with now,
apparently,
and PrEP.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not.
I heard recently it's not even real. There are AIDS deniers.
Really?
That's a real thing. Yeah.
AIDS deniers.
Supposedly there are AIDS deniers. If you go on the internet right now, there are people that say that the idea of AIDS and all related activities toward it is just a money-making operation.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That I'd love to see the movie about that.
Yeah.
We had a movie. There was a movie that last year that came out, Holocaust Deniers.
Part of that.
Yeah, Matthew McConaughey's probably an AIDS denier.
Yeah.
Because look at how much he's probably fucking.
Yeah, totally.
Rick Moranis.
How does Rick Moranis come back?
Rick Moranis isn't fucking at all.
T-cells?
That's what the movie's going to be called. That's the movie about the AIDS deniers.
Sure.
T-cells don't exist. It's created by the Shkreli industry.
Honey, I Shrunk Milk.
Number 7, Death Wish, the remake.
Oh.
Made by, what's his name? Eli Roth?
Yeah.
Bruce Willis is in this, being Bruce Willis, killing people.
I just watched a Bruce Willis movie where he was in it with 50 Cent. And 50 Cent got billing above Bruce Willis, who was playing a mob boss.
Poor Bruce Willis.
Yeah. He's not hanging. I figured he would have stayed that like Stallone, Schwarzenegger, You know what I mean? But like his projects didn't stay.
Yeah. Well, I heard at some point that Bruce Willis basically gave up on being an actor and just started being Bruce Willis in every movie that he got cast in.
That's the best.
And he doesn't give a shit anymore. He doesn't have to.
Bruce wants to write in a jazz scene in the next part of the movie. He wants to do what? What does the dog think?
I think the dog's on board. Oh, no, never mind. Dog is not on board with Bruce Willis's career choices.
Fake the front door. Knock it off.
If we have this Pancake is not happy with Bruce Willis's movie choices or with ours. Number 8 from the makers of Fast and Furious, The Hurricane Heist.
Oh, what are they stealing in this one?
Hurricane.
Oh,
it's right there in the title. The Hurricane Heist. Yeah, they're going to grab him out, get Will Smith back in action.
Oh, good.
This made $3.1 million at the box office.
Oh, what's the budget on that?
35.
Damn, that's a lot of wrecked GTOs.
It's not going to do so hot, I don't think. It doesn't seem and that's the thing from the makers of Fast and Furious. Why not just make more Fast and Furious movies?
Yeah, because it doesn't end.
They're already happening,
right? If you ever want to wonder how America is going to do, go to the opening night of Fast and the Furious. Don't go to the movie. All right,
just hang out at the opening night.
Just sit in the parking lot at the end, like where people have to leave. When they get out of that movie and they get in their shit Civic or whatever they're driving, they speed out of that parking lot like they're in the movie.
Oh, there's so many people who think that they can do donuts after that movie.
Right.
Just burned rubber all over the AMC parking lot.
That's it. Yeah. I don't know. Did you watch any of those? I watched the first one, and that was it.
I watched the first one, and then I watched the most recent one.
Right.
Where that's not the one where they drive through buildings in Dubai. That's the one I saw in the trailers. This most recent one, The Rock.
We got to get into this Russell Peters concert.
The Rock coaches a girls' soccer team for like 5 seconds.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he's a girls' soccer coach. He got out of the FBI. He coaches girls soccer. Jason Statham's in it. That's what I love about. Honestly, that's what I love about the Fast and Furious movies at this point. It's just basically like they took the idea of the Expendables and were like, all right, let's make this entertaining and good with young action stars.
Right. Yeah,
not your Sylvester Stallones
in action stars.
Right, exactly.
Totally.
Not your stars who need colostomy bags. We're going to give these people some big budget, high action stuff.
I don't hate that.
And now The Rock is going to have his own spinoff.
Yeah, the presidency.
Yeah. He's going to fly Air Force One through the White House.
What else would he do?
I don't know.
All you see is him and just the flames and one single eyebrow, giving the look.
He's going to be, his presidential portrait, he better be able to keep all those tattoos. They're not going to have to paint him out. He should do it shirtless. Yeah. Shirtless with just the tie. Mm-hmm. He's going to get the presidential seal tattooed on his other pec.
Right. Yeah, just, now I have to put up with, he's not even an American citizen. He was born in Samoa. I don't know what the lie would be.
Hey, it's American Samoa.
American Samoa, that's
it counts.
Right. Yeah.
Girl Scout cookies, they're called Samoas, and there's nothing more American than Girl Scout cookies.
You know what? When I ignore those broads as I go doing my regular grocery shopping, I tell you, it's true.
Yeah, something feels wrong about that.
My money? How much money are they making, and where does it go?
Who knows?
Exactly.
To make better Girl Scout cookies? I don't really know.
They've figured it out.
I think
they haven't had a new flavor in my lifetime.
All the flavor, anytime they make a new cookie, quote unquote, it's just a renamed version of an old cookie.
What? That's all it is?
That's all it is. They had, there's ones that I remember we would get that it was like a shortbread cookie with fudge on the bottom.
Oh, okay.
And they used to call them like fudge treasures.
Fudge treasures. Oh, where did the joke start?
And then they put animals on, and then they called them animal treasures or something like that.
Yeah.
And then they started putting saying hello in different languages on them. And I don't even remember what they called them after that.
How do you have this much knowledge?
We were a big time Girl Scout cookies household.
That was the thing in your house?
We had Girl Scout cookies, and then we had I was a Boy Scout for many years, so we had the Boy Scout popcorn.
I just didn't buy something from those dudes either.
The Boy Scouts?
Yeah.
Don't buy anything from the Boy
Scouts. They had popcorn, and like everything was a healthy snack. That seemed like what they were selling.
Oh, that's stupid.
Isn't it?
I don't like that.
In our house, the cookies would come home. What is it, like 3 rows? And my dad would just go yoink, and my mom would yoink, and I get the middle one, and we'd leave 2 for my brother. That was it.
That's very sweet of you guys.
Yeah, that was nice.
Did you do the Thin Mints in the freezer? Was that your jam?
We were, except for the Thin Lobby wrote a letter saying that the Thin Mint had offended them. We used the word thin. There was an allergy outbreak.
Number 9 at the box office, Annihilation.
Oh.
Can you guess? I was going to say, can you guess?
In a world. That's how I start that.
Not that far off. You're on the right track.
Okay, are we blowing up? Is the planet blowing up? Something's blowing up.
Planet is something's going wrong with the planet.
Okay. That's my favorite kind of movie.
You'd actually probably, I feel like if you're a sci-fi type of dude,
okay,
you would probably enjoy this movie. I saw it. I liked it a lot. It's Natalie Portman and some other ladies go into a part of Florida where a meteorite crashed and started doing wacky shit to the environment.
Really?
And there's a whole bunch of like gene swapping, and there's a lot of real weird shit, and it's very trippy visuals and really cool, crazy music.
Okay.
Very, very well-made movie, but it's not going to go anywhere at the box office.
Not even Natalie Portman.
Not even with Natalie Portman. Because it's too weird, and it's coming out at the same time as Black Panther.
Oh, yeah.
Black Panther's going to dominate. Annihilation is getting annihilated.
Huh.
It's at $26 million total, made 3.1 this weekend. 3 weeks at the box office, it's probably going to barely scrape by its $40 million budget.
I got an idea. Let's remake Evolution, but with chicks.
That's kind of what it is.
That what that movie
That's
is?
kind of what that movie is. You know what I loved about Evolution? Very underrated movie.
Very funny.
They used shampoo as the way to kill the aliens.
Is that how they did that?
That's how, because there's Celine, because the dumb guys in the movie. I don't remember who they played by. I watched this in church, by the way. To watch a movie called Evolution in church seems like we played a trick on God. This was
Lutheran. We go Methodist?
This was Presbyterian church that was not really a church because we didn't have enough money to build a sanctuary. We built a gym and rented it out.
That's even better.
Very shrewd.
Yeah. Nice of them to retire the Lord's number first, though.
Oh yeah, we hung that right up. And we also retired 666. That's right out there too, right next to each other.
Nice.
You can't have that.
Nope.
It's too many numbers for the backward jersey.
This is the Lord's house. The devil will not get any rebounds on this.
No, absolutely not. Devil's not going to get any kind of. He's not putting up any triple doubles.
Actually, biblical teachings that went along with you watching.
I don't think
the guy
so.
With 3 names and the black guy.
I really don't think so. It was one of those like we did not go for whatever. There's a lot of. I remember a lot of church groups went to go see Passion of the Christ when it was in theaters, and we were not one of those groups. But we watched Evolution in theaters, and we also watched 8 Below in theaters, which is a movie about dogs dying in Alaska. Oh, oh no, sorry, Antarctica.
I thought that was the movie with Eminem.
8 Mile.
8 Mile. 8 Mile.
It's a sequel.
Okay,
it's where Eminem goes to Antarctica and his dogs die.
Yeah, is he still on pills?
I think so. That's why. That's how he copes with the Antarctic cold and his dogs dying. Is he eats all the pills and then he doesn't have any feelings about his dogs dying.
His rhymes are still tight though.
Number 10, a movie that
I can't believe they've made this many movies. I can't get a job in this business.
This is a movie that I don't know how is still in the box office top 10 at all. Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle.
Is that a real?
That's a real movie.
Oh. Huh.
It has made almost $400 million at the box office. It's been out there for 12 weeks.
Wow.
Still in the top 10.
No shit.
It's got The Rock in it.
Okay.
Continuing his Rock box office nomination. Kevin Hart.
CGI Robin Williams.
No, they didn't even, they reference him.
Oh, they is reference.
Vaguely. Okay. They reference him with a carving. And like he's like his like what was his name? Alan in the original movie? Alan was here or something like that.
Okay.
But yeah, it's still there.
I didn't watch the first one.
I have watched it a very, very long time ago, and I was like, okay, I get it.
I had this rule where if Robin Williams was in it, I wouldn't watch.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Why?
I didn't care.
You don't? Are you not a Robin Williams guy?
I think he's great, but you put him on a movie, and I just don't care. Like, especially if it's serious.
Well, Jumanji's not serious.
Yeah, but then it had a bunch of like, I think, all right, what year did that? That's an 80s movie, right?
Jumanji 90s. I think it was like 94.
Okay.
95.
So in 1994, I'm an angry 23-year-old man with a shaved head, unreadable death metal logos all over everything he wears, black camouflage pants tucked into combat boots. I was not going to Jumanji.
Yeah, that makes sense. You're not going to go see Aladdin.
No, exactly.
Most of Robin Hood's cinematic oeuvre is not gonna. It's not gonna. You're not gonna. It's not. You know.
Did you call
you're not a target demographic. Did I say Robin Hood? I meant to say. I'm mixing up all my Disney animated movies. I don't know what the fuck's going on with my brain today.
It's the Mile High.
I blame it. I blame Mile High. I blame altitude sickness. I blame daylight savings time.
It's all coming together.
I blame that I have to pee because I drink too much coffee before I came here.
What are you? I do a pot a day.
I'm gonna go. I had a pot of very strong coffee this morning at the Airbnb we stayed at, and then we were just at this tattered cover. I'm sure familiar with there.
Sure.
Drank 2 cups of coffee there because you get a free refill. And you can pick whatever size you want when you're in the store.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I did that, and now I got a pee super bad.
That's great.
So I think I'm going to do that before we go into the next section because this box office is covered.
I just read a story I covered on my show where a coffee shop in Oakland would not serve coffee to the police because they said that it made the patrons scared that the police were in there getting coffee. And I determined that the only way to make that better would be to have a size coffee you could hide behind if there was anything.
I'm very excited for this part of the podcast. So usually, as you Blockbusting listeners know, this is a podcast where usually my guests hate a movie, and we'll talk about that.
Right.
This time, John doesn't hate anything.
I don't believe in it.
You don't believe in hating stuff?
I believe that it exists, but I think the choice in hating something really just keeps it with you in your spirit. You watched Evolution at a church camp. You know what I'm talking about.
I mean, yeah, you have a great point.
So I'm like, if all of this construct of physical reality is just love, then our choice underneath that is just to have strength and understanding.
Okay.
So what I did is you gave me a list of 7 different movies. Yep. I had seen none of them. And then the one that I had here on the on-demand service was The Happening. So
yes.
That's when I didn't know anything about it. Mark Wahlberg was in it. He's a fine, upstanding young Irish Catholic gentleman.
He plays a science teacher in this.
He does.
And this time, this is the Happening. For if you are not familiar,
do you break down the synopsis?
A little bit. We'll do a little synopsis of it. Happening is a 2008 psychological thriller film written, co-produced, and directed by M. Night Shyamalan, starring Mark Wahlberg, Zooey Deschanel, John Leguizamo, and Betty Buckley. Pride of Fort Worth. The film follows a man, his wife, his best friend. That's in the Wikipedia article. All right. The film follows a man, his wife, his best friend, and his friend's daughters as they try to escape an inexplicable natural disaster. So,
yes.
I saw this in theaters when I was in high school.
Okay.
M. Night Shyamalan's first R-rated film and one of the first R-rated movies that I saw in theaters.
Wow. I started comedy in 2008.
Yeah?
Yeah, so that was the first year I really did it.
Man.
Yeah.
So I started seeing R-rated movies in 2008.
That's pretty good.
I'm
an old man.
First R-rated movie I ever saw was Snakes on a Plane. An all-time classic.
Of course.
Nobody could ever hate that movie. I don't know how anyone could hate that movie.
You couldn't. Why would you? You'd be racist if you did.
Yeah. Racist against snakes.
Yeah. Tough.
Samuel L. Jackson. What do you think his presidential prospects are? He's one of the people who I think could run against The Rock and win.
I think we probably could shoehorn in an amendment mandatorying the word of motherfucker. Probably something
for sure
in America.
He gets to swearing on a Bible that says bad motherfucker on it.
Of course he does. Yeah. It's awesome.
All right. So I saw this movie and this is one of the first times I've never. I've one time I've walked out of a movie during the screening of the movie theater.
Well, sometimes you come and you don't want to stay.
that happened during Wild Hogs for me.
I got a Tim Allen thing too.
Oh boy, I'm more of a William H. Macy guy myself.
Oh, are you really? Good for you.
So this was a movie I saw with friends, and I don't think I walked out of it because I would have been the only person walking out.
Right.
If I had convinced my other friends to leave, we probably would have left.
Sure.
The whole time walking back to the car, we were just like, "What the fuck was going on in this movie?"
Hey, Light walked out on Mark Wahlberg. What a queer!
And John Tole, you are here to defend.
I'm here to defend
The Happening. All right.
The Happening will give you every lesson you need in life to make it, to find happiness, to find joy, and to decide right here, right now that you have had everything you've always needed.
Okay. So this is the most spiritual take on an M. Night Shyamalan movie that I think I've ever heard.
I think this movie was M. Night Shyamalan's take on faith.
Really?
I really believe it is, yeah.
Okay. Are you an M. Night Shyamalan fan? Have you seen a bunch of his other movies?
Whether the one with the ghost at the end?
There's that one. There's a ghost.
There's another one besides that?
There's a Bruce Willis movie.
That's the one. Whether he's a ghost.
No. There's another Bruce Willis movie.
Where
he's
the
unbreakable
superhero.
Where he's a superhero.
I did like that.
With Samuel L. Jackson.
Yes.
Our new president. Yeah. That movie's great.
Okay.
Sixth Sense is great. Unbreakable's great.
I don't like a movie where they wear raincoats, though. No, I don't care what you did last summer, and I don't. And
that's not
the movie where the dudes ride that boat up that big wave. I didn't care about that one either. And
The Perfect Storm.
Yeah.
Also not M. Night Shyamalan.
Well, right. So I have a thing where I just don't like raincoats in a movie.
Wait, Perfect Storm and Mark Wahlberg in it.
Right, but he was wearing a raincoat. See how that thing is? As a Catholic, you have to realize from like a conceptual like Catholic level that when they put a raincoat on there, it's selling condom use. And they're trying to indoctrinate the kids.
See, these are things we didn't pay attention to in Presbyterian church camp.
Well, how could you study the word when people were doing layup drills at the other end of your church?
So this is one of those movies. So you think this is M. Night Shyamalan's take on faith?
I believe it is, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Explain yourself.
In that sense?
Yeah.
Because the plants come together and work together as a healthy ecosystem. They join powers like a Voltron of plant nature, to then put chemicals out into the air that if people intake, they will then intake these chemicals and then they kill themselves. They do damage to themselves.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
And so the people who were spared in this, were Mark Wahlberg, okay?
Yep.
The Mexican dude's kid that he ended up with. Am I allowed to spoiler alert this?
You can spoil. We can spoil the shit out of this movie.
Right.
If you're listening to this
I didn't think
podcast,
she did a bad job.
Katy Perry is pretty solid in this movie.
I didn't hate her. You can tell a person can't act if they do a lot of like tight close-ups of just their eyeballs. Mm-hmm. And I go, okay, I know why she's here.
That's very serious looking, yes.
But in this movie, she goes from this, I don't know where I am in my life. Am I going to choose the men I'm with, or am I going to go with this Joey character, this unseen force? And then she goes through this personal arc of accepting her own responsibility in this situation. And the two of them grow together as a couple, now bringing the responsibility of this third-party little girl that they're now coming together as a family,
right,
that allows them to operate as healthy members of the biosphere as they walk out of the buildings to go make eye contact in the middle of the field at the end of the money. The trees look down and they're like, they're one of us. And that's what this whole thing is about, okay? Is that in society right now, whether if it's the biosphere throwing off tree juice that's going to make you, lay under a mower, or however that you go out, a lot of fun ways to kill yourself in this movie.
That's probably one of the best parts of this movie. Is there are a lot of really interesting ways you can kill yourself.
Yeah, I mean, for the fact, I mean, when they drive down that tree-lined street and all you see is ladders going up and the people have hung themselves all the way down that rich neighborhood. I mean, that was like, it's a pretty serious, shocking thing to see.
This is what happens when you give M. Night Shyamalan free reign to make an R-rated movie. He's going to get a lot of dead bodies.
Yeah, that's right, but there was no boobs in it. Right?
Yeah. So, I guess it's a real waste of Katy Perry's talents if you're not going to show the boobs.
Right. I didn't even think that I didn't even know that was an R-rated movie.
Really?
I didn't realize it because it just was like a regular. It seemed like a PG because they didn't really show anything. It wasn't anything too bad. You know what I mean?
True.
It was all like off action, scream, body falls in camera frame.
Yeah.
Blood pools behind.
Yeah.
Next thing. You know what I mean? It was a lot of that.
Yeah. I think, okay, so this is a new take on hating a movie. Since I'm the one who hated it.
You hate it. I love it.
So I want to bring up some of the aspects of the movie that I didn't like, and I want to see.
I'll defend. I got everything for you.
Defend them. All right.
Yeah. I'm in a comfortable position right now.
So one of the obvious problems with this movie is, to me, the dialogue. A lot of the writing, I think, falls into this trap of like not being believable. And there's a thing that I read that M. Night Shyamalan said right when reviews were starting to come out for the movie. I think like a couple days before, he said that he wanted to make a really good B movie, which seems to me like a cop out of something that you would say in order to deflect bad reviews.
Okay.
And to say that you're deliberately making a bad movie that's trying to be a really elevated bad movie.
Mm-hmm. He does bad comedy, so people don't know that he's doing bad comedy. That's what people say about me.
But that's what so especially looking at that.
Yeah.
How can you defend lines like Mark Wahlberg going, you see, I'm trying to save people and like people are about to kill themselves and be like, I'm a science teacher, so I know what to do.
Right.
Or Betty Buckley just sitting there like on her porch being like, oh, you eyeing my lemon drink? Why don't you say lemonade? Why is it lemon drink?
I had a conversation with my fiance about this yesterday. I think Betty Buckley in this movie, all right, she had lost her marbles. She had been living by herself, okay?
For sure.
And the tree juice is only going after groups of people, okay?
Yes.
The way she flips when they walk, first of all, you got a dressed up doll in the Jesus room of your house nobody goes to, and now you stumble into this part of the movie, and you get caught from Betty Buckley. Now she loses her shit. She's off spinning off in the garden before she face plants in front of her own window.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
But because inside of that, she had multiple personalities inside of her, and that's why as one single angry person, she goes out in the middle of the trees, and they're like, there she is, a group of them, get them. Oh. That's why she went out, because they were like, they can't be in groups. Because except at the end, she was completely still angry.
Right.
And she was this multiple collection of not her. And the trees took her out because she's bad for the planet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man. But that doesn't answer the dialogue.
It doesn't answer the dialogue question. The problem with this kind of dialogue is you have to have these reinforcing like statements that like keep people in tracking of like, it's like if you're telling a long joke, it's like sometimes you have to reset stuff early in the middle so they still have it by the time you all get to the end.
Yeah.
And so they'll have lines in movies like this where they'll be like, there's Jim. I haven't seen him since we've graduated college in biology. You know what I mean? And it's like in that sentence, you have you have a backstory. You know that this guy knows biology. That's Jim, and he's coming in to do advance something for this, okay?
Right.
Now, mind you, it's like this guy also wrote, he directed, he shot this. He doesn't have any friends. He sits by himself with his pile of money, and he just goes, I hope they'll like this one.
Look, you're supposed to be one of the most
movie, and it was stolen from me.
You're supposed to be one of the most gifted You had such promise, and then he goes and makes Lady in the Water, and then he makes The Happening.
What was The Lady in the Water about?
Paul Giamatti fucking a mermaid in a hotel pool. I don't really know.
Ever since Paul Giamatti's father banned Pete Rose from baseball, I'll never like a single movie he does except for Private Parts.
There's so much more about Paul Giamatti than I ever knew that you just brought up. I wish we had time to go into it. That'd be a whole different podcast.
His dad was the commissioner of baseball.
Man, I wish you told me you hate Paul Giamatti. We could have talked about Sideways.
I don't hate anything. That's the thing. That's the point of this. You have to find love and acceptance and just wrap your arms around all of these bad projects.
All right. Okay.
So writing, look, can you defend the dialogue? I don't know. I only think in that movie where there was 7 actors, there was only 6 actors. I don't think that pop star needed to be in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, she was probably one of the. There's a movie where somebody different plays that part of the wife.
Okay,
and it's a more compelling movie.
It is
for sure.
Sure,
I would say that Zooey Deschanel was definitely miscast.
Who's that?
She's Katy Perry. For sure, miscast. Maybe if they. It's not Katy Perry.
I fucking hate that movie. I had no idea.
You really? That's not Katy Perry. I'm sorry to burst your love bubble.
I didn't watch any of the movie. I watch the words.
I mean, they look a lot alike. I get it.
Are they the same person?
They might be. Okay. I'm going to go back to the B movie thing.
Yeah.
Because I think that is not a valid argument to make. Like I have seen some movies that are basically like really well made B movies,
okay,
and appreciated them and liked them.
Yes.
I think I wish I could come up with one off the top of my head, but I just can't right now.
What about the idea of just using human fear of turning against yourself as a bad guy?
And see, that's the thing. I think, okay, part of what I didn't like about this movie is that it has a really compelling, like, theoretical driving force behind it, right? Which is the idea of human fear and not knowing why people are acting a certain way,
right?
And that sort of the really the sense of unease and uncertainty. I think that's a really strong and interesting thing, especially if you're going to make a horror movie. To use that as the real driving force behind it, that's really compelling. Mm-hmm. But you're giving it to plants,
right? And
it's like the plants to me don't feel like enough of a true villain.
Okay.
That's another thing that feels kind of like the way it's explained in the movie is it feels like a cop out.
Uh-huh.
And that feels like
whose idea is it that the plants are actually bad guys? They're just acting naturally.
But that's the thing. It's one of those
fear
like
is that humans act unnaturally.
But that's the twist of this movie. The M. Night Shyamalan classic twist is it's been the plants this whole time.
Yes.
Maybe if it had been revealed more early on that it was something that the plants were doing from the get-go. Because I read the plot line of this again on Wikipedia, and I was like, okay, this actually kind of makes sense as a movie.
You didn't pick that up in the beginning when it happened at Central Park, and then it happened at the park in Philly? You didn't put that together?
No, I didn't put that together.
A central location and a natural setting that was making...
No, I didn't pick that up at all.
Okay.
I didn't, because I was just like, oh, what's going on?
And all of the fear that ran along with it is, are these terrorists? Who is doing this? Who would do this to us? Think about like if something like this happened today, which is
I would feel very underwhelmed if it was just the plants the whole time too.
It is. What if it's what we're seeing right now in the metaphorically speaking, the trees emitting the trees working together emitting these gases that humans ingest, and because of how they operate as humans, they then attack themselves to remove themselves in a loving gesture out of the biosphere. They're killing themselves for the sake of the planet. That's what's happening here in this thing. Now, if I create a couple different AI programs that's running pro-Russian bot activity that's changing how human behavior reacts when it encounters on somebody, and then they go through and live a life of the Russians are coming to get us and everybody's bad and I should be fearful of the other. It's the same thing. We're really living through it right now.
True.
It's the same metaphor.
But I would rather see, if you're going to make a movie where it's going to be, where the boogeyman of the movie is going to be metaphorical and be something that is a device to bring this fear and give you this sense of unease, I would rather it be something that is more compelling as maybe just like a straight up character. Like when I remember seeing this movie and thinking that Betty Buckley was just going to be like scenery chewing villain.
Yeah.
And then she just winds up being like sort of antagonistic, but not really the villain of the movie.
Right.
Because she gets killed by the plants too.
She was Kathy Bates without the sledgehammer.
Exactly. Right. And I kind of want Kathy Bates with the sledgehammer.
Okay.
If I'm going to have somebody who's going to be like, what I thought it was going to wind up being was that Betty Buckley, because this is about the time when they started figuring out it was the plants when they get to Betty Buckley's house. I would love it if Betty Buckley had been maybe some sort of like, if she had been like an eco-terrorist, or if she had been some kind of like, I don't know, M. Night Shyamalan can come up with something that's like, oh, she runs a greenhouse.
Right.
And she figured out a way to send like spores or something out. I don't know. It feels... The way it was all revealed to me feels like a cop-out.
Okay.
And it feels like there could have been a stronger motivation, but that's the thing. It's like it's plants, and I can't.
And at the end, Mark Wahlberg is on the end of one tube. She and the girl are, I don't know, the other end of the
other tube,
on the other tube. Sight unseen, living in what seems to be a brick prison of their own making at the end.
Right, yeah.
And just using communication, they decide to come together. They did exactly what the trees did to survive.
Right.
And so that's how they survived, is they did the exact same thing that the trees did, which was communicate and listen to each other. And it wasn't all about how appearances are.
And they got rid of their toxins.
Yes. which would have been the toxin of the I don't know that I want to be with you. Who is this Joey person? Your buddy at work who tells you don't trust your girl is the same buddy who then now turns in a time. And if you want to go real deep metaphorical, go back to the scene, okay, where the Jeep is waiting to pull off to go back to Princeton.
Yep.
Okay. And now they have the new plant guy and his wife and his hot dog eating wife for hanging out, right? and then Wahlberg is hanging and he's like, all right, look, this is our ride. And he's like, take my daughter. This is a huge moment in there, okay? Because he's going, look, he's like, if you're going to grab my daughter's hand, you're doing this for real. This is her moment. This is her moment in this journey. You know, I think that's a lot of this in this is that everybody arcs, but she arcs bigger than Wahlberg arcs in this movie. Yeah. You know, I think so. I think there was more growth on her part. But if you look at it from a storytelling thing, Luke Leguizamo is getting into a red Jeep. Red is that color of the base root chakra that is all of our base fears and all of that.
And M. Night Shyamalan loves using the color red as a signifier for something that is off, something that is evil, something that is weird.
Yes. And so what he is doing, he is embracing his fear of the unknown. He's going to leave his daughter and his safety that he currently knows to be at to go in this red vehicle and disappear and go to Princetown. Okay, and then where he goes to save, and then he ultimately slits his own wrists because he had to watch the movie. No, and then, but at the same time, the other wagon their way. Now, when they're showing Leguizamo over his shoulder with the red Jeep ready to go.
Right.
And when they go back and they cut and they shoot Wahlberg centered in the streets. Tree-lined streets with nothing but open sky going down back the other way. So that's like Shyamalan's going, look, these are your two choices here. You're going to stay here with the group, and are you going to move forward and you know find some freedom inside of this thing?
Right.
Or are you going to embrace your fear, the same thing that led all of these people to kill themselves because they had it in them, and that these trees set it off inside of them, and that's how they all learned how to tie a knot.
Yeah, I think and you're speaking to a lot of really interesting points here that sort of lead to I think my final argument against this movie, which is this movie. M. Night Shyamalan, I'm not going to say is a bad filmmaker. He's made a lot of really good movies.
Sure.
The guy knows how to craft some really compelling stories and compelling images. And I think he's sort of asleep at the wheel here as far as storytelling goes, the way it feels to me. Because there is a lot of really cool imagery in this movie. I think it's well shot. I think that the color palette is perfect for the sort of vibe that he's going for with the movie. But he, story-wise, I think that if you're going to make a movie that's sort of like that wants to try and evoke a sense of paranoia and fear in the sort of great thriller tradition and great horror movie tradition, to not have a villain whose motivations you can sort of understand, I think is a mistake. But
we understand the motivation.
But that's the thing,
because it's self-preservation.
But you have to have the hero explain that the whole way through. What I liked, Unbreakable. Let's talk about another M. Night Shyamalan.
Sure.
Movie. Unbreakable, I think, works really well because you get the villain explaining in his own words why he has made the choices he has made throughout the movie. That I think is one of those directorial choices and writerly choices that I think helps elevate that movie and any movie really, because you get to have from the mouth of the villain, from somebody who you've also sort of grown to trust over the course of the movie. You get to hear them make this sort of sensible argument for why he has committed mass murders over the years to try and find one superhero. In The Happening, there is only assumptions. Mark Wahlberg, because he's a science teacher, has to figure out on his own why the plants are doing this thing.
Right. And he only has what he knows as a science teacher, which is the scientific method.
And You know what? I think I just want there to be like a villain in the movie.
But there is.
But it's
Fear is the villain.
But I need a person.
You need a personification of the villainy of the movie.
I think I need a personification of the villainy of the movie for this to work.
Okay.
I don't think that this is a movie that couldn't work, and I don't think that this is a movie that is irredeemable. I really like your interpretation of the movie.
I'll posit there's no bad guy.
But maybe, well, okay, so what about this? Is humanity the bad guy because the plants are taken over? Because that seems to be, I think, the most logical way to look at it in the end.
That is a way to look at it. But in the same way that we would, as people of faith, we would say that Christ goes on the cross as this human sacrifice to take him out of the way for the good of humanity. And I've always loved the metaphorical nature of the cross and the nature of trees themselves, because the tree nature is just a giving spirit in the biosphere. It only drinks what it needs. It shares resources. It provides shade, fire, wood. You know, the first lady that kills herself is reading a book and she turns a page. She's physically turning a book in her hand as the stuff comes over, and she jams her own neck with whatever she has.
And that's good. And that's good filmmaking.
Yes,
I like that.
But I think the issue we're having with M. Night Shyamalan is that he's like, we all have joke patterns. My favorite joke pattern in the world is what I don't even know what you'd call it. It's like that delayed. There's nothing funnier than me than Norm Macdonald telling the moth joke on Conan. Give me a joke that has no reason to be told. It's not even that funny, but it took 7 minutes to get it out, and you've wasted everybody's time. And in the wasting of the time is where the true funniness of how absurd something this stupid is.
Right.
So I think the issue is that he had Unbreakable, then he follows that up with what?
Signs was right after Unbreakable.
Okay, and then after that, is that when he comes out with the Bruce Willis movie?
No. So it goes Sixth Sense first. Okay. That was his first movie.
So
that's the first Bruce Willis.
Right.
And then Unbreakable, then Signs, and then The Village.
Okay.
Which is where it sort of starts to he starts to wear out his welcome as a director a little bit.
The issue, I think, is that because he his first big, I don't know where you were on Sixth Sense, but at the end, when the reveal comes in, you're like, oh, wow, I'm dumb. I didn't see it personally coming. And then, it was like, oh shit. And you'll watch it again. You're like, oh, this is two different movies.
Yeah.
This is your movie with knowledge. This is your movie without knowledge.
Yeah.
And then I go, that's the pulse. That's the picture that dude makes. That's the reveal he's great at. And he had his whole life to get his point out, to put out this first, if you were a band, it would be your first most hungry album that has all your hits on it. And then your next album after that has the same turn. And your album after that is the same turn.
Right.
And everybody goes into all your new stuff wanting to be surprised, like you surprised them in Sixth Sense because they didn't know that surprise was available.
Right.
Now you have to come up your own way of basically reinventing his own, how do I sneak this by him?
Yeah.
He's a comic in a sense in that way. The problem is that he's opened up with his closer. If from a filmmaker sense,
I got nominated for Best Picture.
This is
first directorial debut to get nominated for Best Picture. That's remarkable.
You can only fail from there because there's only 7 stories you can tell in storytelling. That's all there is.
That's the way.
You're limited.
Exactly.
Very limited, and then what you can do with it. So I think that I would give him the deference in this because there's no actual villain. Other than the human choice to turn upon your own humanity and remove yourself from the equation. That being said, it's never determined whether or not that choice that they're making is a choice they're doing so of their own free will as a human, knowing that is their next move. They have to do this on behalf of the planet. Or is this, I don't want to be doing this? Because now nobody who kills themselves in this movie had any hesitation in doing it.
True. They all just do it.
We froze, we activated, and we're off to the races. And look, and if these people would have been able to outlimit how many shell casings were in a clip, there'd be less dead people laying on the ground.
That's true. Man, I think...
I'm not trying to sell anybody on this movie. I'm just saying...
I mean, you're kind of selling it, though.
I'll sell you this. From the beginning, You have the sunny day and the cloud. Your Simpson-esque clouds are rolling through the credits as this thing's going. Okay, and the light changes and it goes from day to night to dark. The clouds get a little stormy.
Yep.
And then it fades to black, and as it fades to black, that's where you get the full reveal of M. Night Shyamalan's name,
right?
And then it dissolves into story. So then, what I'm saying is, if you want the point of this movie, and you want the point of life, not a single person watching this movie, not you or I, with our opinions, have anything to say in a negative way about how those clouds reacted on screen. So that if we would look up at the sky and look at the clouds, and we would never say they're out of place. We never say, "Oh, the cloud program running today sucks." It's not something we ever conceive of.
Right.
But when we take our own judgments down into the world and somebody makes something, we project ourselves into it. And if we reject it, we're only rejecting our true nature of that movie. So the whole point of that movie happened in the clouds in the beginning. It's just a natural process.
Right.
Because those clouds spinning in the sky are equally as important as those people killing themselves on the ground after the trees let them have it.
Man.
The fact that we, as humans, put more weight into the human side of the story.
That's our flaw.
That's our flaw. Because the tree nature of being this giving spirit and this thriving spirit that gets to continue to progress and grow, it's because it is its nature.
Right.
And so we are going to regress because our nature as flawed humans is to regress, is to destroy. And so in that is, I think, the place that he was writing from. And then in the end, where they got the Bill O'Reilly blowhard is on their version of Fox News going, well, it only happened here. If it only happened one more place, then we could blah, blah, blah.
And then it does happen in one other place.
And then it flips to France.
Yep.
And same thing happening, all right? You got two of these dudes walking around, and the next thing you know, everybody does the freeze again.
Yep.
The one guy who's lucid, he's not part of it. He turns around, his last line is, "My God," and the movie ends.
You know what? I think, and I want to. This is the last thing. This is about M. Night Shyamalan more as a director. Did you ever see Split, his movie from last year?
I thought
I liked it, and I liked it. Yeah. And here's the thing:
I would have banged that guy dressed up as the nanny.
I think. You did a great Fran Drescher impression in that movie. I think part of what made that movie work is that there was sort of a twist, not real, but not really,
right? Because
you knew what you had. You knew going into it what the movie was about, laid out from the get go. So you didn't have to worry about the M. Night Shyamalan twist, even though there was a sort of twist in the movie. You didn't have to worry about it because you knew what you were getting from the get-go. And I think, because this was the first M. Night Shyamalan movie that I ever saw.
Okay. So you didn't see Sixth Sense first?
Actually, you know what? I saw Signs first.
Okay.
I hadn't seen Sixth Sense. I hadn't seen Unbreakable. I watched Signs, but this was the first one that I saw and had not known what it was about going into it. All the other movies had been spoiled for me.
Right.
And I enjoyed them more for that.
Okay.
And I think that M. Night Shyamalan's work might work better for audience members in like current day version, where you already don't have to worry about what you are getting into as the twist. Because became his flaw because it became his signature.
Yes.
He opened with his closer.
Yep.
His closer's to the twist.
And he can't follow it.
You can't follow it.
Unless he writes something better, and he didn't.
And
but
exactly.
Guess what? We need a new movie.
And now we don't have to worry. But now we don't have to worry about the twist because it's already laid out for us. We already got spoiled in the twist. This guy's playing 27 different. He's got 27 personalities. What's going to happen? Oh, okay, cool. I'll watch that.
Yeah.
I don't feel any need to deride that. Sixth Sense. Okay, yeah, he's dead the whole time. Cool. I can watch that movie and be like, yeah, oh, this is very interesting.
Sure.
Unbreakable. The Samuel L. Jackson's villain. Oh, okay, wow, that's fascinating. Mm-hmm. And I kind of want to go back and watch The Happening, knowing the way it ends from the get-go, because I feel like maybe I will appreciate it more now.
Watch the movie in the sense of humanity not as individual beings, but humanity as a collective stream of life.
Okay.
And so that's how the human end and then the plant end of the biosphere coming together, and then realizing that there's so much angst in the world, and there's so much have to, and there's so much now, and there's so much consumption, that what we're doing and our psychic energy and all of that we're throwing into the air is bad for the environment. And the trees are here to tell us, yo, knock it off.
Yeah. Maybe it didn't need a villain. Maybe we just assumed it did.
Maybe, yeah, maybe, and that's it. Maybe that's the ultimate trick in this whole thing. He made a horror movie without a bad guy.
Yeah, and that's one of those things that like it seems jarring and wrong, but
yeah, because suicide is a one of those. That's that big thing. You're like, you know, if you kill yourself, you're going to hell. All this negative things you're going to do in your life, but in this sense, you know, Katy Perry killed herself. Killed her old life and went through this new arc where she realized in this time that she had to grow up and she had to take care and be the responsible person that she was always supposed to be.
Mark Wahlberg says he thinks this is a really bad movie.
No shit.
And I think that he might be wrong. I don't know. I'm gonna have to watch it again for myself. But you might have defended this one successfully.
All right,
John. Thank you for being my guest on today,
man. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Where can my listeners find your work on the internet?
I released an album last year called Pre-Existing Condition. That's on iTunes and Amazon. I have 2 bands, Pit Boss 2000 and PC Death Squad. They're thrash metal bands. All that stuff's on there. I have like 30 albums between music and comedy.
Damn.
And so yeah, it's ridiculous. And then so stuff that I'm making now, I have a podcast. It's called Whiskey and the Surfer. If you go to John Tole Live on my iTunes, you'll be able to get my daily or my Monday morning live stream. I do a Facebook live stream show.
Right on.
It's pretty heavy Jesus. And then I do Whiskey and the Surfer. Whiskey and the Surfer are 2 entertainment algorithms in the year 2065. One of them is an AM faith-based newsreader, and the other one is an FM sniper who was suspended after causing a disturbance and taken out of his station. So these 2 algorithms have found a time machine 17 levels underneath the Denver airport, and they save America 1 rock riff at a time 2 times a week.
Oh my God. That sounds great.
It's ridiculous.
Tune into those. You can find me at Diet J on Twitter and Instagram. jlightcomedy.com for any upcoming show dates, which includes Feed Me at the Comedy Store, my crowdwork show with Frank Castillo on
Yes,
March 21st. So much yes-anding.
It's the best. Why do you love crowd? I did crowd work specifically for 2 straight years and didn't do any material because I wanted to learn how to just walk up on stage and talk.
That's why I wanted to do this show.
Yeah.
That's one of those things that like it's so uncomfortable to have to figure out how to do, but if you can get past that uncomfortableness, God, it's beautiful.
It's amazing. My favorite thing is in the moment something will happen, and if you want, the joke is right there in front of you. You can go get it. It's right there. Get that laugh immediately, get in and get out. Or because you know that joke's there, you can set it. You know where you're going to go. Nobody else knows where it is. And now you can take them on a ride. You can take this room anywhere you want to take them out to a place that's going to hide this joke that you've already been thinking of that's happening in the moment. And then by the time you rip that out and pull it out, they're like, what was that? And it's just a gimmick.
Yeah.
It's all wrestling.
So come check him out on March 21st, guys. A couple weeks. John, thanks so much, man.
Thank you so much. God bless.
This is Blockbusting. Guys, go see something good for a change.